Jack Carter had been through plenty of rough flights before, but this one was something else. His cargo ship, the Wayfarer, shook violently as alarms blared in his ears. The control panel flickered with red warnings: engine failure, thruster malfunction, navigation offline. "Come on, baby, hold together," Jack muttered, gripping the controls. But no amount of begging was going to fix this. The ship was going down. Through the cracked viewport, he saw an alien planet below, a massive, glowing city of crystal towers and golden spires. His ship tore through the sky like a fireball, heading straight for a colossal palace at the center. Not good. Not good at all. Jack yanked at the controls, trying to steer away, but it was too late. With a deafening crash, the Wayfarer smashed into the palace courtyard, skidding across polished stone before finally coming to a stop. Smoke and sparks filled the air. Silence followed. Jack groaned, unbuckling himself from his seat. He was alive. Miraculously alive. But how long that would last depended on whoever owned this place. As he staggered out of the wreckage, his boots clanked against the smooth surface. He wiped soot from his face and looked around. Hundreds of tall, elegant aliens stood before him. Their shimmering robes reflected the golden light of the palace, their silver eyes wide with shock. Some gasped. Others whispered in hushed voices. Then, suddenly, cheering. Jack blinked. That was unexpected. Before he could react, the aliens bowed, a deep, reverent bow, like he was some kind of god. Hey. Jack raised a hand in an awkward wave. An alien stepped forward, a regal figure with golden armor and a crest-like headpiece. He spoke in a deep, commanding voice. "A prophecy has been fulfilled. The Skyborn One has arrived on the day of union." The crowd roared with joy. Jack frowned. Wait. What? Before he could ask, he was grabbed by several aliens and dragged toward a massive golden archway. Okay, let's slow down here," Jack protested, struggling against their grip. "I think there's been a misunderstanding." But they weren't listening. They carried him through a grand hall, where banners of royal blue and silver hung from the ceiling. Strange, glowing symbols decorated the walls. The air smelled of exotic spices and something oddly floral. Finally, they'd brought him before an ornate throne, where a striking alien woman sat. She had piercing violet eyes and an air of cold authority. Her long silver hair shimmered like liquid metal. Her expression, not happy. One of the aliens beside Jack spoke excitedly. "Princess Silvera, the Skyborn Groom has come." Silvera's jaw tightened. Her gaze locked onto Jack like a predator sizing up prey. Jack blinked. Groom. Oh no. Something told him he had just crashed into something much worse than a palace. Jack Carter stood frozen. His mind struggled to keep up. Groom. He had crash-landed in an alien palace. That much he understood. But now they were calling him a groom. That made no sense. Jack looked at the princess sitting on the throne. Silvera. She was beautiful in an alien way. Tall, elegant, with silver hair that shimmered under the golden palace lights. But the way she glared at him made his stomach twist. Jack cleared his throat. I think there's been a mistake." The room fell silent. Hundreds of alien eyes locked onto him. The regal-looking alien beside him, the one who had called him Skyborn Groom, spoke again. "There is no mistake. The prophecy foretold that on this day, the Skyborn One would descend from the heavens and take Princess Silvera as his mate." Jack blinked. "Wait. Hold on. Mate? You mean marriage?" Silvera rose from her throne, her long robe flowing behind her as she stepped forward. "This is outrageous," she said coldly. "This thing is not my chosen mate. He is an accident." Jack raised a finger. "Okay, that part I agree with." The gathered aliens gasped. Some whispered nervously. A few looked downright offended. The golden-armored alien beside Jack shook his head. "You cannot deny the prophecy. Princess, the ceremony has begun. It is destiny. Silvera's sharp violet eyes narrowed. Destiny. She turned to Jack. What is your name, human? Jack Carter, he said, shifting uncomfortably. And for the record, I'm not looking to get married. The crowd gasped again. Jack was starting to think they did that a lot. Silvera crossed her arms. Then you are just as unwilling as I am. Jack sighed in relief. Great. Then let's just call this a misunderstanding, and I'll. The golden-armored alien interrupted. The ceremony must continue. Before Jack could react, an alien priest stepped forward, holding a glowing silver bowl. He dipped his fingers in the liquid and splashed it on Jack's forehead. Jack flinched. What the hell, man? The priest turned to the crowd. The bond is sealed. The aliens erupted into cheers. Jack wiped his face, panic rising. Whoa, whoa. What do you mean sealed? I didn't agree to this. Silvera looked equally horrified. That was the binding ritual. It is done. Jack's stomach dropped. No, 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 no. This is a mistake. The golden-armored alien smiled proudly. The Skyborn Groom and the princess are now bound. A union of two worlds. The prophecy has been fulfilled. Jack looked around, desperate for an escape, but the entire room was celebrating. Silvera clenched her jaw. You ruined everything, human. Jack groaned. Lady, you and me both. Jack Carter had been in some tough situations before. Bad landings, pirate ambushes, engine failures, but nothing compared to this. He was accidentally married to an alien princess. The grand hall was still filled with cheering Veldari nobles, their shimmering robes swaying as they celebrated the legendary union. Jack, however, felt more like a prisoner than a groom. Silvera, his new wife, stood stiffly beside him, her face cold as stone. Her piercing violet eyes locked onto him with pure hatred. Jack sighed. Listen, I don't want to be here any more than you do. Silvera's lips curled in disgust. Then we agree on something, at least. Before Jack could respond, a loud crash echoed through the hall. The massive doors at the far end burst open. A towering alien warrior stormed inside. He was massive, 7 feet tall, covered in thick armor and carrying a massive energy blade. His deep red eyes burned with fury. Jack instinctively took a step back. Well, that's not good. The warrior pointed a clawed finger at him. What is the meaning of this? The room fell silent. The golden-armored noble beside Jack cleared his throat. High Warlord Drekthal, the prophecy has been fulfilled. The Skyborn Groom has arrived. Drekthal's face twisted with rage. This worm is no warrior. This is an insult. Silvera was promised to me. Jack's stomach dropped. Oh, so that's why Silvera was so pissed. Jack looked at her. You were engaged to him. Silvera didn't even look at him. I had no choice. It was a political arrangement. Drekthal slammed his blade into the ground. And now I am to be replaced by this weakling. He turned to Silvera. Tell them, this human means nothing. Silvera's hands clenched into fists. For the first time, Jack saw something other than anger in her eyes. She was trapped. She took a deep breath. The ritual has been performed. The bond is sealed. Drekthal growled. His fingers tightened around his weapon. Then I challenge him. Jack's eyes widened. Wait, what? Drekthal pointed at him. By the laws of our people, I invoke ritual combat. If he is unworthy, I will cut him down, and our marriage will be restored. Jack turned to the golden-armored noble. Hey, you want to explain what the hell that means? The noble smiled. It means if you lose, he kills you, and Silvera becomes his wife instead. Jack's mouth went dry. Oh, fantastic. Silvera crossed her arms. Finally, something I can look forward to. Jack sighed. He really needed to start reading up on alien customs before taking random space routes. Jack Carter had officially hit rock bottom. One moment, he was hauling cargo across deep space. The next, accidentally married to an alien princess and challenged to a death duel by a 7-foot-tall warlord. Jack sighed, rubbing his temples. All right, let's just pause for a second. Do I get a say in this? The golden-armored noble beside him shook his head. No. Jack exhaled sharply. Yeah, that's what I thought. Drekthal stood at the center of the hall, gripping the hilt of his massive energy blade. His glowing red eyes burned with rage. I will end you, human, he growled. Jack put his hands up. Okay, hold on. Let's think about this. Do we really need to fight? Sylvera scoffed. Are you afraid, husband? Jack shot her a glare. I'm afraid of dying over a misunderstanding, yeah. Drekthal's lips curled into a cruel smile. Then beg for mercy. Surrender, and I will make your death quick. Jack swallowed. That did not sound like a great deal. Before he could say anything, an older Veldari noble stepped forward. His robe was longer, his silver hair streaked with deep blue patterns. He carried an air of authority. This duel cannot take place, the elder declared. Drekthal's fists tightened. And why not? The elder raised a hand. Because the Skyborn groom has already been bound to Princess Sylvera. Their union is law. You cannot challenge one who is already chosen. Jack exhaled in relief. Oh, good. We're safe. Drekthal's eyes flashed. Then the laws are weak. The elder's expression hardened. Do you question the ways of the Veldari? The warlord stiffened. The room grew tense. Jack wasn't sure what was happening, but he had a gut feeling that insulting ancient alien laws in front of hundreds of nobles was a bad move. Drekthal's muscles tensed, his grip tightening around his blade. Then, after a long moment, he let out a deep breath and released his weapon. This is not over, he growled. He turned to Sylvera. I will not forget this betrayal. With that, the massive warrior stormed out of the hall. The tension in the room finally broke. The nobles murmured among themselves. Jack, meanwhile, sagged with relief. That was close, he muttered. Sylvera glared at him. You are a disaster. Jack sighed. Lady, trust me, I know. The elder turned to Jack. You are now part of our kingdom, Skyborn one. The laws protect you, but they also bind you. Jack frowned. What does that mean? Sylvera crossed her arms. It means you're stuck here. Jack groaned. This just kept getting worse and worse. Jack Carter sat on an ornate balcony, staring at the alien city before him. Golden towers, glowing bridges, hovering skyships. It was beautiful, but all Jack could think about was one thing. He was trapped here. Sylvera stood beside him, her arms crossed, looking just as annoyed as he felt. Jack sighed. So let me get this straight. I can't leave because of some ancient law. Sylvera nodded stiffly. Correct. Jack rubbed his forehead. And if I try to leave? The Veldari will consider it treason. Jack groaned. Fantastic. I love being a prisoner in a marriage I didn't sign up for. Sylvera shot him a glare. Do you think I wanted this? Jack threw up his hands. No, but I wasn't the one planning to marry a rage monster like Drekthal. Sylvera's expression darkened. It was a political necessity. His army is strong, and our kingdom needed an alliance. Now, thanks to you, that alliance is ruined. Jack huffed. Oh yeah, because I totally planned to crash my ship into your wedding. That was definitely on my to-do list. Sylvera turned away, frustration clear on her face. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Jack asked, So, is there a way out of this? Sylvera sighed. There is one possibility. Jack perked up. Finally. Okay, what is it? Sylvera hesitated. Then she looked at him seriously. The unbinding ritual. It's the only way to break a Veldari marriage. Jack grinned. Great. Let's do that. Sylvera narrowed her eyes. It's not that simple. The ritual is dangerous. The elders only allow it if both partners prove the bond is a mistake. Jack raised an eyebrow. How do we do that? Sylvera sighed. By completing 3 impossible trials. Jack groaned. Of course, because nothing can ever be easy. Sylvera nodded. The trials will test strength, wisdom, and loyalty. If we fail, the bond remains forever. Jack's eyes widened. Wait, forever? As in, I can never leave. Sylvera smirked. Yes. Welcome to marriage. Jack let out a long sigh and stared at the alien skyline. He was stuck in a royal marriage, about to face 3 deadly trials, and if he failed, he'd be permanently bound to a princess who hated him. Worst crash ever. Jack looked at Sylvera. Fine. We do the trials. But if I die, I'm haunting you. Sylvera rolled her eyes. Just try not to embarrass me, human. Jack grinned. No promises. Jack Carter stood in the center of a massive stone arena, staring at the hulking beast in front of him. It was 10 feet tall, covered in thick, spiked armor, with glowing red eyes and massive claws that could probably slice a spaceship in half. Jack sighed. Yeah, this is about what I expected. Sylvera stood beside him, arms crossed. This is the trial of strength. If we fail, the marriage bond remains. Jack glanced at her. You know, normal couples solve their problems with divorce lawyers, not death battles. Sylvera smirked. Veldari marriages are not for the weak. Jack turned back to the monster, which was now snarling and scraping its claws against the stone floor. Jack gulped. And I assume we don't get weapons. A Veldari elder stepped forward and raised a silver staff. His voice echoed through the arena. The trial of strength begins. Face the beast of Kordath. Survive, and you may proceed. Jack barely had time to react before the beast roared and charged straight at them. Jack dived to the side, barely avoiding a massive claw swipe. The beast's strike hit the ground, cracking the stone. Great, so it's fast too, Jack yelled. Sylvera moved like lightning, leaping onto the beast's back, driving her daggers into its armored hide. The creature roared in pain, twisting wildly, trying to throw her off. Jack, meanwhile, had one thought: run. But before he could, the beast turned its attention to him. Jack's eyes widened. Oh, come on. Why me? The beast lunged. Jack barely managed to roll away, but the creature clawed at his jacket, tearing the fabric. Sylvera landed beside him, breathing hard. Stop running and fight. Jack dusted himself off. I would love to, but I don't exactly have super strength, daggers, or a death wish. Sylvera growled. Then use that human brain of yours. Jack's eyes flickered to the arena walls. Massive torches lined the edges, burning with blue flames. An idea hit him. Sylvera, get its attention. Sylvera frowned but leaped back onto the beast, slashing at its eyes. The creature roared in fury, focusing all its attention on her. Jack sprinted to one of the torches, grabbing a burning spear from its base. Hey, you Gile, he shouted. The beast turned, just as Jack hurled the spear straight into its open mouth. The blue flames exploded, sending the creature crashing to the ground. It let out one final, thunderous roar before going still. Silence. Then, cheers erupted. The elder stepped forward, raising his staff. The trial of strength is complete. Jack grinned, panting. I am never getting married again. Sylvera smirked. If you survive the next 2 trials, you won't have to. Jack groaned. This was far from over. Jack Carter barely had time to catch his breath after fighting a massive beast, but the Veldari elders had no intention of waiting. The trial of wisdom shall now begin, the elder announced. Jack sighed. Can I get, like a 5-minute break? Sci-Fi shot him a cold look. Would an enemy give you a break? Jack groaned. I don't know. Maybe if I ask nicely. Before Sci-Fi could reply, the floor beneath them rumbled. The stone arena split apart, revealing a maze of twisting hallways and shifting walls. Jack blinked. Oh, that's not terrifying at all. The elder spoke again. To pass, you must reach the center before the sands of time run out. Fail, and the bond remains forever. Jack scratched his head. Wait, that's it. Just a maze. No monsters. Sci-Fi narrowed her eyes. If it were that simple, many would have passed. Jack did not like the sound of that. The elder raised his staff. Begin. The ground shook again, and suddenly, the floor beneath them dropped. Jack and Sci-Fi tumbled down into the maze, landing with a hard thud on cold stone. Jack groaned. Ow. Not the smoothest entrance. Sci-Fi was already on her feet. We don't have time. The walls are alive. Jack frowned. What do you mean? A deep grinding noise filled the air. Jack turned to see one of the walls slowly shifting, closing off the path behind them. Jack's eyes widened. Oh, that's what you mean. Sci-Fi grabbed his arm. Move, human, before we're trapped. Jack raced after her as the maze continued shifting, walls opening and closing unpredictably. Great, Jack muttered. A maze that's actively trying to kill us. Sci-Fi studied the walls as she ran. The Veldari believe wisdom is about seeing patterns in chaos. Jack nodded. Right. So we don't just run. We watch. He skidded to a stop, eyes darting over the moving stonework. Every time a wall closed, another opened. A pattern. Jack grinned. I think I got it. Sci-Fi frowned. You? The fool who crashed into my wedding. Jack smirked. Watch and learn, princess. Jack grabbed a small rock and tossed it toward a path ahead. The second the wall shifted open, he sprinted forward. Sci-Fi's eyes widened as he slid through right before the wall sealed shut. She followed quickly, her expression shifting from doubt to mild respect. Jack dusted off his jacket. Told you I had a brain. Sci-Fi sighed. You got lucky. Jack winked. Or maybe I'm just that good. Finally, after dodging collapsing walls and predicting patterns, they reached the center of the maze. A glowing pedestal stood before them. The elder's voice boomed. The trial of wisdom is complete. Jack smirked. 2 down. 1 to go. Sci-Fi crossed her arms. Don't celebrate yet, human. The next trial will be the hardest. Jack sighed. Why did he know she was right? Jack Carter had fought a giant beast and escaped a deadly maze, but now he stood in front of the final challenge. The trial of loyalty. He had no idea what to expect. The Veldari elder stood before them, his silver robe flowing in the wind. Around them, the arena was silent, the crowd watching with intense focus. The final trial will test your loyalty, the elder announced. Loyalty to your bond, to your honor, and to each other. Jack frowned. Okay, but how do we? Before he could finish, the ground shook. The stone beneath them split apart, and 2 separate platforms rose from the floor, one beneath Jack and one beneath Sci-Fi. A wall of energy crackled between them, cutting them off from each other. Jack's heart pounded. Oh, I do not like this. The elder raised his hand. You will each face a choice. Pass the test, and your bond will be broken. Fail, and you will be bound forever. Jack gulped. Yeah, no pressure. Then a figure appeared in front of him. Jack's breath caught. It was Drekthal, the massive warlord he had accidentally stolen Sci-Fi from. The alien warrior stood tall, gripping a massive blade, his red eyes filled with hatred. Jack forced a laugh. Oh, come on. I already beat the monster. Now I have to fight this guy too. But Drekthal didn't move. Instead, the elder spoke. Your choice is this. You may leave now, Jack Carter. Step through the portal behind you, and you will be free. No marriage, no trials, No war. You can return to your ship and leave this world forever. A glowing portal appeared behind Jack, humming with energy. Jack blinked. Wait, seriously? The elder nodded. Yes. But if you leave, Sylvera must face Drekthal alone. Jack's heart sank. He glanced across the energy barrier. Sylvera stood on her own platform, facing a group of armed warriors. Jack clenched his fists. So let me get this straight. If I leave, I get to go home. But Sylvera gets. She will fight alone, the elder confirmed. Her fate will be hers to bear. Jack looked at Sylvera. She stood tall, her expression unreadable. She didn't beg for help. She didn't look at him with hope or fear. She just waited. Jack turned back to the portal. His way out. His freedom. Jack sighed. Well, this sucks. Then, without hesitation, he turned away from the portal. The elder's eyes narrowed. You choose to stay. Jack cracked his knuckles. Yeah, I get it. Loyalty, honor, all that. But mostly, I just don't like leaving people to die. The energy barrier dropped. Sylvera's eyes widened. You stayed. Jack smirked. Of course. What kind of husband would I be if I left you hanging? The elder smiled. The trial of loyalty is complete. Jack exhaled. Great. So, are we finally free? Sylvera's expression turned serious. Yes. But now, we have bigger problems. Jack frowned. Bigger than getting married by accident. Sylvera nodded. Drekthal is still here. And he wants revenge. Jack groaned. Oh, fantastic. Jack Carter barely had time to process his victory before he heard a deep, furious growl behind him. Drekthal stepped forward, his massive blade gleaming under the alien sun. His red eyes burned with rage, his sharp teeth bared in a snarl of hatred. You dare steal my bride and live. Drekthal's voice was like thunder, shaking the ground beneath Jack's feet. Jack raised his hands. Hey, buddy, let's not do anything crazy. I didn't steal anybody. I literally crashed here by accident. Drekthal ignored him, turning to the Velderi elders. The trials are over. Now, I demand blood. Jack sighed. Of course, because nothing is ever simple. The elder hesitated. The trials are sacred, warlord. He has proven his strength, wisdom, and loyalty. He is free. Drekthal let out a low, dangerous laugh. That means nothing. He humiliated me. I will not leave without a fight. Jack groaned. You know, I'd love to say I'm honored, but I really just want to go home. Sylvera stepped beside him. You don't have to fight him, Jack. You won your freedom. Jack looked at Drekthal, then back at Sylvera. His freedom. He could walk away. Leave this crazy planet behind. But Drekthal wouldn't stop. If Jack left, Sylvera and her people would suffer his wrath. Jack sighed. You're not gonna like what I'm about to say. Sylvera frowned. Jack, don't be a fool. Jack turned to Drekthal. Fine, big guy, you want to fight. He rolled his shoulders. Let's do this. Sylvera grabbed his arm. Jack, you can't win. He's bigger, stronger, and... Yeah, Jack interrupted. But I'm smarter. Drekthal grinned, then prepared to die. Human. He charged. Jack barely dodged the first swing. The massive blade sliced through the air, missing his head by inches. Jack gulped. Okay, that was close. Drekthal swung again. Jack ducked and rolled away, grabbing a broken spear from the ground. Come on, Carter. Think. Drekthal was strong, but Jack had speed. He needed to use that. The warlord lunged again. Jack sidestepped, using the spear to trip him slightly. Drekthal stumbled forward, but recovered fast. He swung his blade wildly, and Jack barely managed to jump back in time. Jack's brain worked fast. There had to be a weakness. Then he saw it. Drekthal's armor plates were thick, but there were gaps at the joints. Jack smirked. Gotcha. When Drekthal lunged again, Jack twisted his body, barely dodging, then jabbed the spear into a gap in the armor. Drekthal roared in pain, dropping to one knee. Jack pointed the spear at his throat. Yield. The warlord panted, eyes full of rage. But then, slowly he nodded. The crowd erupted in cheers. Sylvera stepped forward. You just defeated one of the strongest warriors in the galaxy. Jack grinned. Yeah. Well, now can I go home? Sylvera smirked. We'll see. Jack Carter stood in the center of the arena, still catching his breath after defeating Drekthal. The massive warlord gritted his teeth, staring at Jack with a mix of hatred and respect. The Velderi elder stepped forward, raising his staff. The trials are complete. Jack Carter has proven his strength, wisdom, and loyalty. The bond is now broken. A strange blue light surrounded Jack and Sylvera for a moment, then vanished. Jack blinked. Wait, that's it. I'm free. Sylvera nodded, her expression unreadable. Yes, you are no longer my husband. Jack exhaled. Oh, thank every star in the galaxy. The crowd murmured. Some of the Velderi looked disappointed, others curious. Jack turned to Sylvera. So, I guess this is where we say goodbye. Sylvera tilted her head. Is that what you want? Jack hesitated. Well, yeah. I mean, I got a ship to fix, a home to get back to. And I'd rather not die on some alien planet. No offense. Sylvera's lips twitched, almost like a smile. None taken. Jack scratched the back of his head. So, yes. This is the part where I shake your hand, say, nice knowing you, and never see you again. Sylvera crossed her arms. Perhaps. Or, she stepped closer. You could stay. Jack blinked. Stay. On this planet. With you. Sylvera smirked. You proved yourself in the trials. My people respect you. And despite everything, you are not entirely useless. Jack chuckled. Wow. That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me. Sylvera's expression softened. You are different, Jack Carter. You do not fight like us. You do not think like us. But in your own way, you are strong. Jack looked around. The Velderi watched him closely, waiting for his answer. Even Drekthal, still nursing his wound, was staring at him. Jack thought about Earth, about going back to his normal, boring life. Then he thought about this place, the chaos, the adventure, the people who had almost killed him, but also accepted him. Jack sighed. You know what? I must have hit my head really hard during that crash, because I think I'm actually considering this. Sylvera raised an eyebrow. So, Jack smirked. Screw it. I'm in. The crowd cheered. Sylvera extended her hand. Then welcome, Jack Carter, to the Velderi Empire. Jack shook her hand. Great, but let's make one thing clear. Sylvera narrowed her eyes. What? Jack grinned. Next time you get married, leave me out of it. Sylvera chuckled. No promises. Jack groaned. What had he just signed up for? But deep down, he didn't regret it. Not one bit.